everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's episode 418. Tom is here with us, and the topic tonight, I know it seems confusing to everyone. Whose mini comic is it anyway? We're going to leave it up to the wheels to decide our fate. We will choose a main character for our story. We will choose either a steed, a vehicle, or an object that must be integrated somehow into this mini comic. And then finally, we will have a location of which said mini comic will take place in. So, do you want me to go ahead and start spinning this thing now so you guys can start?
Knowing the stakes of this creativity we're doing here.
Initially, it was just going to be a spin on a wheel. It'll choose a character, and then we're just going to make a story about that character. But I'm like, I think Tyler and I talked about this. Let's spice this up a little bit. Let's add a couple things to this.
Let me ask you this: on the wheel, is it both good guys and bad guys?
Yes.
Okay. Then I say, perchance, we roll it twice to choose the good person and the bad person.
Oh well, I have them all just like on the thing. So it's not
split up. Well, there you go.
It's not all split. I mean, we could roll it.
I didn't know if you made separate wheels for.
No. Do you want to do two characters? You guys just want to stick to one?
I mean, I don't mind if we have like if we wanted to go that route, we have two heroes in the story and two villains in the story, or if it's one hero, two villains.
Let's just
always stick with one for now.
Okay,
we'll stick with one spin for now, and then from there we can build with whoever we want to throw into it. And then if this is anyway successful and we have a lot of fun doing it, I guess we could always make it more complicated and cruel to ourselves later on.
And add more wheels.
I'm curious, like, when you say more cruel, like what are we talking? Like adding like the scientists of New Adventures or some shit like that?
Who knows, man?
Oh god.
Anything is possible here on the mystery wheels. So let me go ahead and share our first wheel. All right, so we got this here. Let me go ahead and do this, and
that's beautiful.
Let me take this.
All right, so we're looking at steeds and vehicles, I guess, is what. And weapons and things like that.
If you notice, Tom, the coal miner's glove is a part of this wheel, so we had to put it on there. Going back to what was it, Halloween Havoc 92 or 92? Tyler was
make the deal.
Yeah, it was Sting and Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
What a shitty match.
Let's just do it like this. All right. You want me to just go ahead and spin it now?
Yeah, spin it, dude.
All right. Here's our first selection for this mini comic. Now, this doesn't have to be it doesn't have to play a major role in the mini comic. It's just it needs to be included somewhere within the story. So just keep that in mind.
Keep in mind.
Here we go.
The Tower Tools. Okay.
All right.
Tower Tools, which I love all those late accessories myself. So that'll be fun to try to find a way to incorporate that in there.
Yeah, I like it.
Tower Tools. All right. On to the next.
I'm loving this already. Like this anticipation.
Here are the locations. So we have Point Dread, Dark Smoke, Crystal Sea, Sea of Rakash, the Ice Mountains, the Sands of Time, the Forgotten Forest, and Widget Woods.
Ooh, okay.
Spin the wheel, make the deal.
All right.
That's some good anticipation on that wheel there. Didn't know which wedge it was going to land on.
Yeah. It's just like Wheel of Fortune. We're just slightly edges over. Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's awesome.
And finally, oh boy, because I asked you both to send me lists, so we got a lot on this. I'm not gonna read them all out here.
I didn't think you would literally put everybody. I thought you would select, but hey, this is awesome.
Everybody is on here.
It's a lot of people that weren't used much or at all, hardly. So
this is going to be hilarious.
Oh boy! So we got what is it? Forgotten Forest.
Watch, it's going to be somebody who has like no relation whatsoever to like using climbing tools or a
I was
forest.
gonna say, like, what is a meteor gonna do with the tower tools? Just
It's gonna be Merman.
All right.
Oh boy.
You ready?
All
Here
right,
we go.
let's do it.
All right. Oh boy. Oh, is it going to be
Oh, Alexa. Okay, I can do this.
All
I
right.
think we got this, man. I think we got this. All three of us, we got this.
Well, while ideas are starting to formulate in both of your brains with those three to make this mini comic, start thinking about a title for this first. And then I want to, first and foremost, thank everyone that tuned in a couple weeks back when we had James on to watch Galaxy High School. The views on that did amazing. So I don't know how we got into the algorithm for that, but appreciate everyone for clicking on that. Also, appreciate all the new subscribers that we obtained because of that video. So thanks to everyone out there for doing that. Is there anything else you want me to do to kill time while you guys are like, think about it?
No, I was just gonna agree. I thought that was a really good episode. Very entertaining. It was fun to listen to a lot of the anecdotes and things that all three of you were saying. So it was a good conversation.
Yeah, go on, man.
Tom. Yeah, keep going. We don't we do comments like that too often. So by all means.
It went over. Tyler said that was in reference to that kid in James's school that was just like, "Oh, you want another? Yeah, come on, man."
Wait, okay. All right, run it by me real quick because I clearly didn't catch that. I want to make sure
Tom was talking about the anecdotes, and you remember James that story that he had about his teacher or whatever.
I think go for another. Yeah, go on, do it or something like that.
Yeah, go on, man.
Yeah, go on then. Yeah, go on then.
Man, Forgotten Forest Tower Tools,
Malactha. I'm already seeing like an Indiana Jones adventure already here.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Thinking of something that's in the woods that's going to require Malactha's experience. Yeah, it's climbing of some kind, whether it's up or down.
Yeah.
And Forgotten Forest. Okay, so maybe with the climbing tools, we could have Webster involved too.
Yeah,
like
go ahead.
Because I was just gonna say, because if they're going to be climbing somewhere, maybe it automatically makes sense that someone that they're going against is going to also have to at some point climb in a direction as well, and it makes sense to me to have Webster as part of that.
Unless there's a thing where the magic is used to automatically transport the villains there ahead of time. So they're already there with whatever Malactha is, what he's trying to get to.
Which means we're pretty much, all right. Let's get the villain route because I like what Tom just said. I want to like lay some groundwork. Because we still have to pick a villain to go in the story, right? Like off the wheel.
We don't. I mean, I can, as you guys are talking, I can sift through all the characters and delete the names and have an all villain wheel, and we can just spin it again and see what villain pops in.
Because I'm cool with including Webster. I was just thinking like if we had to include one particular villain in there too, trying to tie that in of like why Webster would be helping this particular villain. Is it like a mask and trap jaw kind of thing? Is it two Evil Wars teaming up? Is it a one-shot villain teaming up with Webster? If we do,
is he being sent there by Skeletor?
Yeah.
It's going to be.
And the pity.
I'm watching Nathan's face because
I'm deleting all the heroes so I can put it on the wheel again for you guys.
And just think the challenge alone of having Malactha, who has no superhuman abilities whatsoever. We just have to paint him as he is the Harrison Ford of this universe.
Let's play on that a bit. What if the idea is this is something that in maybe whatever the MacGuffin is about this particular mini comic, it's something that maybe in his youth he had tried to go for and get, but ultimately couldn't do it, not because of his own like incompetencies or anything. He just something happened that prevented him from being able to do it.
I
And
said
now
maybe
the
something along the lines
opportunity.
of like Skytree, maybe because he's never interacted or he's seen Skytree. Maybe he hears voices speaking in the in the Forgotten Forest, like, oh my God, this place is haunted. Like I don't dare go after whatever MacGuffin he's after here. Right? It's just I can see Skytree being someone who's very protective about anything that happens in this forest. Maybe it's the Witches of Fire hanging out in the forest as well too. I mean, just I feel like there's all kinds of other things that could have scared him away at a younger age, where he's like, it's important that I retrieve this before it falls into the hands of Webster or whoever might be. Okay, so we got.
I got the villains up here.
Okay.
All right.
From the list that you guys gave me. So you want to spin it and see what villain we're dealing, what Malakth is gonna have to deal with in the story?
Webster's on this wheel, man. It may just end up being Malakth and Webster after all. Just
it could. I mean, I could take them off if you want.
I'm cool with including him regardless, but if we land on him, we'll pick another one to go along with him then.
Yeah, I'm curious if this will land on anybody. Where I'm like right now, I'm trying to look for anybody in here who I wouldn't want it to land on. But for the most part, I think it'll be pretty cool. All right, this will be interesting. Let's see what happens.
Clawful.
Clawful.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Clawful and Webster. Yeah, I'm down with that. That too. That's a very kick-ass
That's a
1984
unique
duo. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't see them paired up at all.
No, they're right here on my shirt.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
What I'm trying to think of, like, who Webster has been paired up with in the past.
Cobra Khan, of course. Evil-Lyn.
Yeah, Cobra Khan. Clash of Arms, he was kind of in that one scene with everybody, but then he was out of it later on.
I feel like he's been solo on occasion, but I think he's always been. Cobra Khan and him have teamed up on multiple occasions in the mini comics and Filmation. I know Evil-Lyn has teamed up with him and Cobra Khan. The UK stuff, I don't know. I feel like they would pair up a lot of people in those books together.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have too many mini comics. It was just like him and Skeletor in the Eye of the Storm. So I think this could work, because they're both two of the most cunning evil warriors that Skeletor's got. So we could either say these two are working on their own, or Skeletor sent them to the Forgotten Forest to retrieve.
That's kind of that was the biggest thing I was going to ask. What artifact are we going for?
Well, they're in a forest. Is there anything thematically that we think would be good for, like, do we want to have it so it's like, what if it's like you had mentioned Skytree? What if there was like something like a golden acorn or something that like can like restart, and it's like Skytree's newest hymn.
Something he's grown off of him that has brought a lot of fruition to the Forgotten Forest, a lot of food, shelter in terms of trees. Like it could provide so much growth if like it's obviously growing off of him, so it help. But if it was taken and planted, it probably could create a whole new environment. In terms of providing food, shelter, for an environment for animals, providing food and things like that. But then it also comes to, if we do something like that, I could see the like Malakth is like, I could track this down, but then you got the confrontation of like, do I take something from this ecosystem that is clearly benefiting it to
he wouldn't do that. You're right. It would be something more of an artifact. It would be something more of an artifact or a legendary item, not necessarily something that would probably have a negative effect if he had to remove it.
Maybe a weapon thought long forgotten kind of thing, or would a weapon be too generic?
Or what if it's something along these lines? What if he is researching, because he's a well versed man, very well read. He's doing research in the Forgotten Forest for something that maybe we're coming up with, maybe the golden acorn, like just wanting to observe it. Is this something we could take back to the royal palace in terms of not to actually take it, but something maybe we could recreate or something along those lines, and learns that Webster and Clawful are there for a particular weapon that would cause a lot of harm to the forest itself or to anyone else, or they're after the acorn stuff. Like I see
Yeah.
Skeletor hearing something about that and realizing that I want that, much like in the Island of Fear, where he wants to control a food resource, or he wants to.
Maybe it's not Skeletor. What if it's Evil Seed?
Evil Seed. I could totally see Evil Seed in secret hiring these two
Yeah.
guys to go after this to warp or manipulate this new item that has grown off the highest branch of Skytree, or
Yeah,
something
maybe
like that.
maybe in possession of that acorn, it'll enhance Evil Seed and make him even more powerful. Like maybe he
Yeah.
can take what it's capable of doing and make himself much grander and more powerful, and that's why he wants it.
And knowing that Skytree is the center of the Forgotten Forest, like he is the oldest thing on the planet. He is embedded in everything there. I feel like he needs people to go in, climb up, because I just feel like,
Maybe he could sense if he was there, like he could
yeah, I
feel
guess,
it.
like Skytree is like, what, there's an evil presence here that I need to, prevent, or his roots are embedded deep into the ground, that Evil Seed, probably, like, as strong as he is, could not break through that, because it's a very I always kind of get the vibe that it's more of a secluded area that has been so overly protected by his roots and everything that has grown around him. He can
Mhm.
manipulate the forest around, as you see, temporarily in the Dragon's Gift, that he
Mhm.
needs someone to sneak in there and snap it off, and take off, because he clearly can't move and leave if these guys were to leave by a vehicle, or much like Webster, swinging around the branches and things like that. And Clawful could cut branches left and right.
Yeah, yeah. Very
Inadvertently, a
see.
really good pairing here in the scenario that they're placed in. Clawful is very useful in this regard.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I'm digging this already, dude. This ain't hard at all for me and Tom to
So
like this.
since we're looking at this in a mini comic scenario, we're looking at 14 pages roughly, give or take.
Yeah.
How are we starting this? Are we starting it immediately with Malactha and maybe like an inner monologue kind of thing as he's on his trek towards this, or how are we starting the book here?
What if it's a scenario with, like, opening up Prince Adam, talking with Malactha, and maybe Mossman shows up.
I agree.
And
I was thinking about Mossman as well, so, in some form or another, being
yeah, and
represented.
yeah, and maybe informs Prince Adam. Well, he doesn't know that he's He-Man, so why would he go to Prince Adam? Maybe he's already in He-Man form at that point. Maybe he's in He-Man form, and He-Man's talking with Malactha, and Mossman shows up and informs him that he's spotted Webster and Clawful in the Forgotten Forest heading towards Skytree. And then He-Man's like, why would they be going towards Skytree? What's going on with Skytree? And then maybe that's where Malactha can step in and say, well, the only thing I can think of is that it lines up with the legends or the equinox, or some kind of like time reference. It's like, oh, this reminds me of something that I read before. Maybe he's the key in telling him. It's like, well, the only thing that I can think of why they would be interested in Skytree is the acorn that is held, above in the very top, the peak of Skytree. Something like that, maybe.
I was thinking close to that, is that Mossman comes to report this grand item that has grown, is causing, or creating a lot of enhancements in the forest, creating more food, and more stronger trees around it. And Malactha becomes intrigued, of like, maybe I should just study this and just see what we could do to maybe recreate what it does, even though it's clearly a natural resource. Like maybe we could, using our modern day technology and things like that, maybe we could recreate what it's doing for the Forgotten Forest for surrounding territories, around the palace villages, fishing villages and things like that, maybe struggling or whatever from um
More
uh,
bountiful.
yeah, more bountiful, things that have been looted and plundered by Skeletor and various other evil beings. Like, how can we maybe strengthen resources in terms of food production and shelter and things like that? And decides to go look at it on his own, and then stumbles upon, oh my God, I'm here by myself, and I see Clawful and Webstore, you know, lurking
I see.
around. What are they doing here? And which would put him, because I feel like if Mossman saw them, I feel like Mossman's strong enough. Like he could, I think he could take on both of them and stop them from doing from whatever they're, as opposed to running back to the palace and say, "Look, these guys are hanging out. They're running through there." At least it's in my logic.
It's kind of better to have Malactha in a situation to where he's going to stumble across them and put him in a perilous situation.
I got an idea. Along with what you're saying, and that makes perfect sense. Having Malactha be the one that stumbles across the, suspicious activity of Webstore and Clawful. What if Malactha then bumps into Mossman, and then Mossman, because he's so connected with all plants and living things and everything like that, doesn't leave the forest, but talks through the plants to He-Man wherever he happens to be, whether it's some other place on Eternia, the palace, wherever he is. And Mossman and Malactha have to hold off Clawful and Webstore until He-Man can get there.
I'm cool with that, dude. Yeah.
I thought Tom free. I looked like he froze for a second.
I'm thinking.
Well, I was going to ask, like,
so the climbing tools actually Malactha already had with it, like the tower tools.
Yeah, he's taking it that way he can climb up Skytree, which I feel like he would need to at least get the grace or the consent of Skytree. That, may I climb you and observe what you have grown, so we may,
Okay, well then that leads me to my next thought and suggestion. What if, besides Malactha, it's also Man-at-Arms? Man-at-Arms has somewhat of a tie connection story to Skytree because he was saved from being Crystal.
Yeah.
In that whole Dragon's Gift story. So what if he was there? And says officially, you don't really know me, but we do have history or whatever. But he in Man-at-Arms arrived towards Skytree. Man-at-Arms made the tower tools, so he is there with them, saying, "It's like, hey, we were really interested in being able to see this, observe this, and learn about it. Do we have your permission to go up?"
What if
that's where I feel? All right, all right, go ahead, Nathan. I'll say my thought.
How about Mossman's back at the palace and tells them more about the forest and tells them hey, try to avoid this, watch for that. He doesn't go along. Instead, Man-at-Arms goes with Malactha because Man-at-Arms
that's what I
is going to be
too.
Responsible if they want to replicate it. Man-at-Arms is going to be the guy to help facilitate that.
Yeah,
I like that because it gives Man-at-Arms a little bit of closure, much like he did with Granomir. Like, he thanked Granomir for saving his life, and to learn that this talking tree is the one that was willing to sacrifice himself to save him. I could see him like, Malactha, I like to come along. We could work together on this, and you can put it in the history books, and we together we can observe this and use my new invention. I haven't had a chance to use it yet. This might be quite beneficial to give it a test run. And leave Mossman at the palace. That way we had just had Man-at-Arms with no other weapons, and Malactha, the archaeologist, to be pitted against Clawful and Webstore in the Forgotten Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have that as kind of the beginning of them making their trip there.
I'd say it starts out at the palace with Malactha either He-Man or Prince Adam. I almost feel like Prince Adam would make more sense because he tends to be there with Man-at-Arms for a lot of that stuff. I can see him-
Overhearing what everyone else is
like
kind of talking
Mossman
about.
coming in to like let them know, like they were having maybe a meeting with Malacta about something they're looking for, or maybe just
Me-
kind of be talking about like a lack of food production for certain areas. Like how can we?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
And
that's what I was just gonna say. Like, what if they're talking to Mossman as like almost like a consultant? It's like we've been having some droughts lately. We want to try and make or just make the realm of Eternos a little bit more bountiful and everything like that. And we've come to you to talk to you about Mossman, your expertise with plants and growth and everything like that. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, maybe he's the one that recommends them go out to Skytree.
yeah, that was my thinking as well. He lets them know like there's something that we've been keeping secret from man because of how man is with
resources.
plant life and
Yeah,
resources. But if you guys are just willing to just observe it and maybe try and duplicate it and not cut it or remove it, I will tell you where it's at, but you also need to get Skytree's blessing. Because I can see Skytree like being very gentle and kind, but also like, who are you? I'm not, I don't know who you are. You're man. Man destroys trees. I only know of one man who wouldn't, and you're not him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he trusts
we
him.
and we give Man-at-Arms a chance to say no. Well, actually, like you said too, you saved my life once, and this is one of our dearest compatriots who's willing. He just wants to learn and observe from you what all the knowledge you have, however you have learned or. God. Yeah, I feel like I'm just repeating myself.
Procured all the information over
Yeah,
this
we're not
period
here
of
to
time.
steal. We're just here to learn from you. If we can recreate what you have grown that has made the Forgotten Forest and even greater resources or a bountiful resources for its natural environment, we want to take that back with us and duplicate it and help our people out as well.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't have to cut down so many trees or destroy a lot of like fertile lands for a variety of things. We can find ways to maybe benefit our society and just leave what you have grown so naturally and so wonderfully, leave it alone and not have to worry about things like that anymore.
Well, it looks like we have the first, what would you say, probably 3-4-ish pages there at the beginning of that conversation.
Oh, okay. I just thought of something else. What if Evil Seed's responsible for them having the droughts so that they will send somebody in so that Webstore and Clawful have somebody to follow into and find the acorn?
I like that idea. That because we start with maybe the first splash page is just them sitting in maybe Man-at-Arms workshop or something like that where they're talking with Black and you see Mossman walk in. Here's the conversation. Well, look, we've got this. The page 2 by the beginning of page 3, we see them take off in the attack track for the Forgotten Forest, and then we would cut to a secluded underground lair or something where Evil Seed is unknown to have. We don't know where no one knows he's around. Like only Webster and Cloth will be the only two who are aware that he's trying to make a comeback.
Mhm.
So some sort of like hidden layer. I don't know, and I'm trying to think where he would be. What kind of
as a plant, he has to have sunlight, so it can't be under necessarily. Well, maybe if he's rooted.
I think about like 2000 the 2002 series where he had an underground layer, but that was also a prison. But he also dwelled underneath there for a time too. Because if we're going with like classic Evil Seed, he will need sunlight and he will need water.
Right.
So, it could be.
I mean, he could still be within like a cave because it would have water there and with an opening enough to where sunlight is peeking in.
Yeah.
Something
maybe it's like a grotto. Maybe it's like something where it's like a sunken in area of land or something like that, where like water's like trailing into it or something like that. Maybe it's just outside of the forest on the forest edge somewhere, or maybe it's not anywhere near that. Like when he was in Filmation, they didn't really establish that he had any particular layer.
No, he just rose up and he's come back.
Yeah,
I guess it kind of gets the vibe that he's an ancient being that has just been in waiting for a long time. So
and I don't know about the two of you, but my personal preference as far as like designs for him is I love artichoke head version over asparagus head.
I love. There's nothing. I mean, I love the look and the action of the 2002 Evil Seed, but nothing's going to be Filmation Evil Seed. It's just John Irwin's voice. He's
Mhm,
very, and he doesn't rely on a whole lot of grandiose actions. Like
mhm.
his demeanor and his personality is what sells him as one of the best villains of the series. Period. So he wouldn't
Have you ever
necessarily have to. Maybe I could see him meeting them in the Dark Hemisphere somewhere.
maybe
You know.
or like maybe it's like just someplace that maybe it's like an ancient ruin that he's just kind of taken over the inside of it with
Yeah, and
plants.
you see a lot of plant growth, like just an excessive amount of plants that's growing over. Maybe the ruins of where like Colossal used to sit, or something like
Yeah,
that. Just some
something
kind of
like that.
random
Yeah,
or
where it's
ruin
not
of it.
really specified where he is
Yeah,
or like what it is. It's just like it's that, and he's there. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, um, but in my mind, like in the Filmation thing, he had the cloak on and everything like that, and
hmm
that's like kind of a classic look for him. But did you ever see what the design was for him when he has the cloak off?
yeah, yeah. Just this gangly plant
Yeah, with this
body.
giant
It's
like bulb body
yeah,
with all these vines for legs and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's badass. I wish they would
yeah.
have made that as a figure.
I agree. I almost feel like too, like for the reader to like see him in cloaked again, and then when he see it makes the bargain. That's when he would take the cloak
Reveal
off and reveal
himself.
that Evil Seed was
Exactly.
back.
Yeah. I was thinking that, and depending on where the story goes, it would be cool if like the robe came off and it was like the fully like tendril version, but we might not even get to that. It might just be a matter of him like sending them off to do it, and he might just be like, "Darn, didn't work," and
Oh,
that's it, you
unless he
know?
was like, threatening them in a way where they're like, "You're just a plant guy. What could you do?" And then that's when we see the full body reveal
Yeah,
and just immediately encompasses them in intense plant life. And like,
yeah,
what? If you guys
vines
don't
and
want to do
everything.
it, I'll find someone else who will,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
yeah. And they're like,
Because
no, no, no,
I
we'll
like
do it.
Tom Data of like, what? We never did get to see that reveal. So it would be a great way to
Yeah.
not only show he's back, but to show what he looks like underneath that robe.
Nice
yeah.
little Easter eggs strewn about to kind of
Yeah.
callbacks to Filmation, unused stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
digging it.
Yeah, so like Clawful and Webster, like they're still formidable, but you got someone who's just as threatening as Skeletor and is ready to cocoon them in his plant life. Yeah, and I'll feed you to my plants. If you guys don't want to do this, I'll contact a couple of Evil Wars. Maybe they'll be a little bit more, forthcoming to do this. Like, no, 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 we'll
Would
do it. We'll do it.
Evil Seed would obviously he would have some sort of massive Venus fly monster.
Yeah,
With bones.
yeah,
Yeah.
They're on the
like
ground.
yeah, to clearly show he's been feeding this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I mean, I got this really dark image in my head, but I'm like, nah, probably not. We won't.
Come on, Tom, this is for kids.
This is not suitable for children.
I thought it was
For
gonna be
Tom-
like the Talking Planet Little Shop of Horrors, and it's like feed me Evil Seed, and you see like just throwing like limbs of people throwing.
Well,
Dude,
I was thinking that, but I was also thinking, what if there was like skeletal remains that are just hanging on vines, swinging in the background?
Well, no, I like that because it makes you think of like the Beastmaster, like there's people that would like wrap people up and just drain their
Mhm.
bones dry. Like I love to see it just depicted enough to where like this thing clearly has been eating people. We don't know who, we don't know what race,
yeah.
but clearly it is devouring, like maybe sapping the skin off these bones.
But it's not called. Like he doesn't say anything, or you're going to end up like those guys. Like it's
Yeah,
just in the background, subtle, so that you're like, oh, clearly, people that do not agree with Evil Seed get messed up. Like
Yeah.
this is
yeah.
what you know.
No, I like that, and it's just like I can see like when they're wrapped up, they just glance over behind him and just see the remains of that skeletal body hanging beneath or right above
Mhm.
that man-eating plant, and they're like, "No, no, well, we're in."
Yeah,
And then we just cut to like, after that, it's like the bargain's been sealed. We don't need to see the aftermath of like them being a rat. We just cut to like Man at Arms and Malactha
Tower
in the
tools.
in tower tools, on maybe lashed onto the back of the attack track or something like that as they're talking about, what Man at Arms like is explain to Malactha why you want to come along. It's more than just learning about this, but I have
yeah,
a debt to pay.
yeah,
You know,
exactly. Now, here's a question.
Isn't this awesome, guys?
This is great. I'm having fun. Are you enjoying this?
Fuck yeah, man. Gotta do this more often.
So, Forbidden Forest, from any time we've ever seen any instance of it, there's always been the element of danger. Like in the mini comics, it was a manticore that comes out and attacks and everything like that. So, then what was it in Filmation? They did something in Filmation too, but I can't remember what it was.
Well,
Was
you see, that's when we have to bring in Tulamar, the Treepercons.
Are we going to bring him back, or are we going to
why the hell not? As a kid, I thought he was kind of creepy. I was like, "Who is this little asshole?" You know, yeah, and just the way he looked, I didn't quite get his message as a kid, so I did see him as a threat to He-Man. All I'm saying is like He-Man needs to do this. You're in his way. You're the villain. Like that was my mindset. Even though I understood not cutting down the tree as an adult, like they are keepers of the forest. You know, along with having animals, and I think a manticore would make sense, that a beast that is trained and conditioned to attack invaders, because anyone who, you know, that as far as I know, anyone who's willing to come in here, you're looking to take something away from here.
Right.
Well, I didn't even, as a kid, I didn't see the manticore as being something that was meant as a protector of the tree. I just thought it was something that lived in that forest.
And it could be that too, because it's like part of the natural environment, which, you know what, I'd rather do that, because you know what, that becomes a little redundant if we were to do a Treepercon, even just one, or even a couple happen to show up. But I think you're right. A manticore makes more sense for something that lives naturally in that environment and is protective of its territory, like any other animal would be. So it gives them something to battle, you know, as they're trying to get to the forest and make the way to find Skytree.
So let's talk about that then. If they're going to battle with the Manticore, how is this battle going to play out? How are they going to?
Yeah, but that brings me to my point. Would we feel that Man-at-Arms alone is capable of being like, okay, you and Malakta, you're going off in this thing. Prince Adam, if he's involved in this conversation, he already knows about the dangers that are in that forest. Would he join them so that he could be there to turn into He-Man in case he's needed? Or would he be like, no, you're in good hands. You're with Man-at-Arms. You're going to be fine.
That was kind of the biggest question that I had, that I wanted to ask the both of you. Is this a story that you wanted to somehow incorporate He-Man into? Because we do have to think that if this is a mini comic in the vintage line,
right,
kids are probably want to see He-Man somewhere in the story. But
my initial thought was like making it a Malakta Man-at-Arms story, but I could see it being more of a story where He-Man arrives a little later in the story,
kind of like in Clash of Arms.
Yes, yeah, he shows up to help save the day, which I like that in some of the mini comic ideas I've had too, where he is not the main hero. He will show up to help save the day, but the story is told through other characters. Like you're seeing their adventure, but He-Man has to get involved at some point, which I'm definitely down with that. Like we set them up, like almost
it strengthens them as characters.
Yeah, because I want to see them go through. And my thought was like Malakta, because you know, even though Man-at-Arms clearly has seen a lot of action, seen a lot of the planet. My thought was like Malakta would be familiar with a lot of the beings that just from studying. Like he's aware of what lives there. We have to be aware of these creatures and things like that. Like there's a small race of protectors called Treepercons. I've never seen them. I don't know what they look like, but the legend says that they are very vindictive towards people who are invading this forest to keep it safe and protected, you know. And he's unaware of He-Man's interaction with Skytree and all that stuff too. Like it just from Malakta's perspective, Man-at-Arms I think would be a little bit more aware of it, but maybe Malakta is more well versed about what lives there.
Yeah,
maybe it's a situation where they run into some kind of beast, and immediately like Man-at-Arms is like, okay, stand behind me. I got this. And Malakta recognizes the type of beast that it is. He's like, no. You know, this particular beast, he's afraid of like bright light, or he doesn't like whatever. And he tells that to Man at Arms, and then Man at Arms is like, "Oh, okay." And then with whatever doohickey he's got, like in
Yeah.
his wrist guard or whatever else on his belt, he uses that in defense against this creature and sends it on the way. So it's because of the knowledge that Malakla has that Man at Arms is able to defeat it, just the two of them. Like
save
Yeah.
wavelength, Tom. I was already thinking with Tyler saying that Malakla would have this knowledge. I'm like, well, then he would know the way to kind of trick whatever they come across to fend them off and not necessarily have to fight them. So
right.
Yeah, I love that idea because Man at Arms is the master weapon. So he would have not like the 2002 where this ridiculous as hell arsenal comes out of his ass,
No.
you know. But he's like Batman. He's
got Manticore repellent spray, and
Yeah.
he just
Right, exactly.
and it
Yeah.
goes away.
But yeah, I like that. Like Man at Arms is as the one that engage physically, but Malakta is the one that is constantly pointing at, no, don't step on that. You know, don't touch that. Like that plant right there. Like I like that. It's a good
Because
contrast because
and it builds up his Indiana Jones-esque
yeah,
personality.
like we're not going to give him a whip and a gun and stuff like that because I feel like he doesn't
all right
need
here.
that. It's all right
all
there. Man at Arms is the muscle in the sense. Malakta is the brains in this. You really want to build up Malakta's purpose. You know, not just as an archaeologist, but he's so well knowledgeable.
He's
about
got
the things.
wisdom, whereas like Man at Arms has both are intelligent people,
Yeah.
obviously, but like Malakla has a worldly wisdom that Man at Arms doesn't necessarily have. Man at Arms has a very technology, engineering, military background.
Yeah.
Malakla has a much more cultural, maybe even like anthropology, like kind of like he knows more about what's going on
He's
in the world.
worldly about the planet. Like he studies. He absorbs knowledge, and he knows. Like obviously, we can obviously incorporate in future stories about learning about new cultures and things like that too, and just being well aware of like maybe I was gonna say he studies. I almost feel like he needs to have experienced some of the environments he studied. Like maybe he is
Yeah.
like maybe he's never gone as far into the Forgotten Forest to where Skytree exists. Because he's like, you know what, I'm being more respectful. Like I was lucky to have made it in here the one time I did to observe, take notes for our own personal, growth and history. But I didn't go too far into where certain creatures, animals would be, on to me.
So in that regard, if he doesn't if he's never been to Skytree, how does he know that where to go? Is it just a matter of like off-screen Mossman told him where he is?
I almost feel like to pay homage to what Tulamar says, just lift your eyes. It's the tallest tree in the forest. Like we know where he's at. You just got to follow that. But I've never felt comfortable going that far in because that tree controls the forest.
Yeah.
Also, He-Man's been there.
Yeah.
So maybe Prince Adam just told him like, hey, maybe he's got like a little like digital map thing on his like wrist or something like that. It's like, I've been there. I know where to go. Look up. That's another thing.
Yeah.
You can find him.
Because I want Prince Adam to set them up with that. I want him to like pay homage to that. It's like, well, how will we know when we find him?
Where do we find him?
Yeah, you just lift your eyes, guys.
Yeah, you just say an old friend of mine told me to look up.
Yeah, there we go. That's what we'll say. And then he'll probably kind of, wink at Man at Arms or something like that to let just like a nice homage, like is Man at Arms, this is where you'll be able to give thanks. Just lift your eyes and you'll be able to do that. But also telling them like it's highly protected. You can't just walk in there and just assume it's just like any other natural just like a throwaway forest. There are very like you said too, there's a lot of animals that live there that thrive in that environment. This is where they live. This is where they get their food, and they don't take kindly to outsiders, like in terms of like other predators who you might be seeing as possible prey, and the other beings that live there, just see anyone as a threat. And maybe Mossman can even attest to that too, like I've lived there. I spent a great deal of time there. You have to be very careful when you go there. Don't go in there with weapons, out and about, coming there barehanded. don't make any threatening actions. Let the forest know you're there as a friend.
Respect
You
it.
know, respect it. Whereas Webster and Clough are going to go in there and they're just going to maybe not. They'll hack away. I could see them having moments where the forest starts to come alive at them and Clawful's snapping away at it. Webster's dodging and leaping from branch to branch to get out of the way and things like that.
Just picking up logs and tossing them.
Yeah.
It's like whatever, just to clear their way and stuff like that. So.
And then I could see them being on alert because if they're entering the forest at the same time, Skytree's thinking, okay, there's two guys entering this forest causing destruction, and he comes upon Man-at-Arms and Malacca first.
And thinks that it's them that
Yeah.
are causing all the destruction.
And
There
then,
you go.
And then when they're saying, no, you don't understand. Like we come empty-handed. We're here to learn from you. And then as Man-at-Arms is telling why I want to, I'm not only here to learn from you, but to give thanks. That's when they observe Clawful and Webster either or not, maybe not too far above, or they're just within eye distance of seeing like that's who is causing all this shit.
Yeah.
Which leaves either Malacca, and that's what we got to, we set up the idea. Okay, we gotta hold these guys off until we get reinforcements because we came with no weapons other than tower tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are we going to go about that as they start to entangle?
Well, do we set up like the introduction, like how far in terms of adventure from Man-at-Arms and Malacca do they go before they get to Skytree? Like, do we just have like what Tom was saying? They come across a manticore or a beast that Malacca is that the one obstacle that do we save page time if this is like a 14-page mini comic?
I would say so.
The one battle they have.
Yeah.
And before they come across of Skytree.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. I would also suggest that we don't do the Manticore only because it's been done already.
Okay, I'm down with that. Yeah, like a completely brand new beast of some kind.
Yeah, new beast of some kind that's in there.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Because it makes it interesting instead of like, oh, here we go again, another Manticore.
Yeah, it's just like if it's a Forgotten Forest, there's got to be an ungodly amount of animals that live there that people don't know much about. But
and I'm sure we can. And I'm sure if we looked through like the pantheon of various animals, whether it's been like stuff that we saw in the mini comics or stuff that we saw in the Filmation cartoons, we could find something that seems like it would be ideal to pit them against in that forest. Like, is it a shadow beast? Is it a like one of those ice spider things? Is it that wouldn't be an ice spider, but like
it could
maybe
I was gonna say, of course, this was in Trolla. I always was fond of that alligator lion. Like it had like the body of like a a feline, but the head of an alligator or something like that, or something that clearly would be a big threat to man. Like it plans to eat you, whatever it is. Like
it's like a bear thing. I think I remember seeing some kind of weird bear thing that they had before.
Like in Fisto's forest, there was like a large bear that attacks the boy that Fisto saves.
Is that the episode where Skeletor goes to Beastman's menagerie and he grabs this bear thing and he mixes that to make the electrical bite beast thing? Like, where did he get that bear from? Maybe that bear is the thing that's in that.
Is that in the episode The Energy Beast or something like that?
It might be. I can't remember the name of the episode, but he like uses the bear as the model to make this like little electrical bite. I think they call it.
I think that's the Energy Beast. I think
maybe it is.
Yeah, but I hated that episode, so I can't. It's been.
They can't put the bear in there.
I can't remember. I can't remember if that's it or not. But if that's what it is, like I hate this episode.
It looks like this. It looks like an electrical bear. Is basically what it is. But he models it off of the actual like bear beast. It's got like spines on it. I think I don't remember. But something like that would be cool.
I think pulling that then is just like as a creature that we don't know where it comes from, so we could easily fit into the Forgotten Forest.
Yeah, or we could literally like, I mean, Manticore is like something from our own mythology that just got thrown in there. It's a Manticore. It's kind of like saying, oh, there's a dragon. We could even do that. We could be like, oh, there's like something from whatever mythology, like maybe there's a I don't know. I'm blanking. There's so many different
I
possibilities.
always want to go to like Greek mythology. I'm thinking like crazy mishmash creatures, you know.
Yeah, maybe it's a Hydra. You know.
Oh boy, we're going to Jason the Argonauts here, man. This can't be just one or two panels of action with a Hydra, man.
I mean, not literally
maybe
Hydra,
it's
but
like
maybe
a
it's like
Hydra,
a
but they have
multi-headed
like,
serpent thing.
well, so I was gonna say if you want to do Hydra, because sometimes Filmation would botch this. They would take like a reptilian creature, but give it like a bird beak, like the Kraken in Search for the VHO. It's a shitty idea. But if it's like a Hydra with like 7 bird heads, like like carnivorous bird heads or something like that, something that's not. Of course, I'm just taking that idea that I didn't like and make it and turn it into another one of my ideas. So I'm kind of a hypocrite there, aren't I? But yes, something that's definitely grandiose, like a Hydra or something like that. That would be susceptible to
it's threatening enough.
Yeah.
Where it's threatening enough where you think, oh, they're screwed, but because of the combination between the two of them, they're able to take care of it.
Scare it off without like trying to kill it or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely build up the high threat with something like. I love that idea. Yeah.
When we get to the point where they're up there and they notice Webster and Clawful, and then the schmozz is going to happen. Is it mostly Man-at-Arms trying to take on both of them by himself, which is going to kind of create more of the He-Man swooping in while Malak is trying to do his best to either like guard the item?
Because I feel like they don't get an opportunity to really interact with the Golden Acorn because they see that, okay, these are the two guys that's causing giving you all this shit. So I can see Malak that, look, I don't have any weapons. We came with no weapons, but you know what, Man Duncan, I can't let you just sit here and just try and do this all by yourself.
Yeah.
But I could see him maybe taking the tower tools, maybe trying to get to a higher vantage point of some kind. Maybe he's got a couple of tools with him.
I was going to say, would there be anything within the tower tools that he could use as a weapon?
No, because
that's what I was going to think. Actually, I'm thinking along the lines of you. I don't know if it does.
They let me grab the scuba tank.
Because what I was thinking was, well, Man-at-Arms is holding off Clawful. Webster's already making his way up Skytree.
Okay,
maybe that.
Well, look at this right there on the tower tools. You've got, and I think that this little item right here spins. I think like it's motorized.
It looks like it's got like a grabber claw and a little saw.
Yeah, which I feel like that would be used to maybe move up. Well, as I said, the tower tools are being used in this poster here with Man-at-Arms, so it's almost like, you know what, we would have to. I almost feel like we would need to put the use of the tower tools in action, and like they're already starting to try and do their research, and then they realize, oh my god.
Yeah, so maybe Malactha is in that, and then it's like Clawful's there, so you have like that clamp of the tower tools going against Clawful's claw kind of thing, or no?
That would work. Well, that would only work is if, because the tower tools and stuff, it's meant to latch onto stuff so someone can grapple down, and do some kind of work. And I feel like the tower tools would need to be engaged at the top of Skytree to drop Malactha or Man-at-Arms down to do research, which means they pretty much would be stuck where they're at, because it's not like the Cliff Climber where it has like a grapple hook, you can move up and down with it and rappel down with the drill. It's almost like you're pretty much stuck. Like in the poster here, it's lowering Man-at-Arms down, but all he has to used for fighting is his mace.
Okay,
it's not a weapon of any kind. It just helps you rappel down to a certain amount of feet, and that's about it. It's more. That's why I feel like it's proper to use for research in the tree to, like, grapple to the toppest branch and maybe lower Man-at-Arms or Malactha down to look, observe, take notes, but not really free them up unless it was Man-at-Arms. Then all he has is just whatever is in his hands.
Right.
He's pretty much trapped right there. It's not like a weapon that you can like lower down and just snap.
Right.
It pretty much kind of leaves you in a trapped place. So
yeah, I personally have no knowledge of tower tools, so it's good that I asked that, because you can kind of give more of an explanation of exactly how tower.
Yeah, because
honestly, I never had it either as a kid, so
me neither.
What it has on it, I don't have any clue.
No, and I've only got the scuba tack, and I've got the Cliff Climber. but they're meant in box. But they're really just tools essentially. They're not really
Yeah.
weapons. Like scuba tack, it's scuba gear, and that's
Right.
really all it is. I think it comes with like a small, what looks to be like kind of a gun almost. I think it squirts water. I think, but the other two, one had a drill to drill into a mountainside or something like that, which is the cliff climber. It's meant for mountain climbing. The tower tools is meant to repair stuff,
Well,
like rappel down and repair.
how about this then? So Malactha is in Tower Tools to, as you said, he's in there, he's taking notes, he's observing. At this point, they come in for an attack. He can't do much. He's kind of stuck there, and Man at Arms is doing his best. That's at that point, that is when we would have He-Man come in, maybe
I think we'd have to like
build up
get
the
it to
tension of that. Or
we got to build the tension up because I almost feel like it has to get to where either they're causing damage like after they've had their moment with Skytree to recognize like, we're not here to take or destroy. We don't know who's doing it, but we promise you we will find out who's doing this. So once Skytree allows Malactha to rappel up, Man at Arms stays down below to maybe continue to pay his respects to Skytree, and then that's when they realize Webster and Clawful are here. So Malactha's stuck up top, can't go anywhere, which leaves Man at Arms all by himself with no weapons, except maybe he's got something, maybe a wrist blaster of some kind that maybe he's like, you know what, Skytree, I'm not trying to harm anything, but these are the two guys causing damage to your forest. If I don't do anything, they're going to cause more havoc. And I feel like that would maybe submit Man at Arms into like a really like they either take him out and then they start to go up Skytree to take out Malactha. And that's when you have your big He-Man moment.
Yeah. I think that works really well.
Tom, you got any other
Tom's
suggestions?
thinking he is in deep thought.
I'm thinking, I'm in deep thought.
I want this to make it a long, tense battle where it's like, how are they going to get out of this? Is Skytree's like trying not to get too crazy because he does have a human being up on the top of his tree. Like he doesn't want to get.
So I'm trying to wrap my head more around. I'm still stuck on what does Tower Tools do. So it's not a climbing device.
Not really.
It's meant to like what like did it have a tagline? Like what was it?
Let me
motorized for castle battles.
Yeah, because if you think like in the box art for like the Tower Tools, it's hanging from a parapet.
Right. It's got two like lines between them.
Yeah, because I think even in like the Star Comic, it could use like this kind of guiding rope to go from one tower to another to do like battle or work.
Okay. What if it's this? What if we cheat and we bring in not just the Tower Tools, but also the Cliff Climber?
Yeah, we probably should, honestly.
But if we do that, though, I mean,
because how is he going? He's got to get up there.
Well, that's what I feel like, because I think in the Star comic, I'm trying to remember if it's one as a backpack that kind of opens up. I wish it's in a shitty comic too.
The Tower Tools does fit on as a harness, and then it's got the thing for like the rope for it to go from like wherever it's suspended from one place to the other.
Yeah.
And
I can see it like being latching to one of the top secure branches, and then if Malactha would need to like move from one side of the tree to the other, it could move him back and forth as he's trying to study.
Yeah. No, the Cliff Climber has like those shoes that like are meant for like digging into cliffs and cliff sides and everything. And it does.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it's got also like a pulley like thing attached to it as well, and that drill.
Wish I could find my boxed.
Oh, here okay. I was going to tell you not to worry about it if you.
No, it's right. It's within reach here.
Motorized mountain battle equipment.
Okay.
Neither one. Oh, you have it. Wow.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
Elevator.
So yeah. Just looking at that, I could see it being something that would maybe make Skytree a little nervous of like, you're going to bring this giant drill
and dig your feet into me.
Yeah, like, and
Yeah.
look, I'm gonna let you guys close in on the back, like the display art of like seeing it in action here. I don't know if how clear that is to you guys. If that helps at all, like seeing like Men-at-Arms in action with like propelling down
Yeah.
Mhm.
cliff there. And then if you look on the front of the box art too, you see like what appears to be He-Man kind of riding on like its belly.
Yeah.
It does because it has a wheel in the front here
Oh
that
yeah.
you could but I almost feel like
He was
outside
in-
of the grappling gear of like rappelling up and down. I mean, if we really want to cheat and just say,
Some weird ass toys, man.
yeah, that's why I find them fascinating because they're such oddballs.
I mean, when
Yeah.
you think about it, all of those things were released at the same time during that. So
Yeah.
another way to sell toys. Yeah, I think we should cheat just a little bit, just so it makes that aspect of it make a little more sense.
All right, then we would have to say that because then we'd have to say that Man-at-Arms and Malak are carrying both the Cliff Climber and the Tower Tools with them through the forest, as
Yeah.
opposed to Man-at-Arms to get a haul ass back to the attack track.
Yeah.
Go back through with the Cliff Climber.
Yeah. I mean, we could. I mean, it's a comic, so we could have it so it's set up like where it's actually just a backpack, and then they hit the button, and that's when all the stuff comes
True.
out. So it doesn't look like they're just running around with this like giant clunky stuff the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how I saw the Tower Tools. Like it's something that it wouldn't really help Malak to climb up a tree, but I could see him like to help make sure he could stay there securely for a long period of time,
So
not
he
worry
doesn't
about losing
fall
his
off.
fall.
Right.
Yeah,
So
it
it
latches
clamps
onto a
on.
branch and assures like, look, I'm not damning, I'm just latching on to one of your branches here so I can sit here and just
Okay.
take notes, videos,
Okay.
or whatever.
I just had in my head a vision of something that he could be doing at the end. I don't know how it gets to this point yet because we haven't discussed it. But I was thinking, okay, so the whole thing with Tower Tools is that it's got that line that goes from one to the other, right? So what if in a heroic moment, like a cable, whatever, he's got it attached at the top of Skytree, shoots down to another tree, and then it slides down, and then whatever that claw thing is, that's like grabs one of the bad guys and secures and pins him, whatever, like that.
I'm like by accident, like it just inadvertently, like just like grabs
Well,
a hold of
it's his attempt because Man-at-Arms is trying, like he's in a situation where he might have to fight them both by himself. So maybe he swoops in.
So
and,
Malak swoops in, like releasing, like taking, like it had to be in a position where maybe he notices Webster maybe trying to sneak attack because I see Cloth was being more of a ground guy. Webster's going to be like what's that?
Tullamore. He's up in that tree. He's like, you better get down there.
Oh yeah. That's when we have two of them. More like your friend's in trouble down there in Malak. They like if you really want to make this, yeah. Oh yeah, that's what because I could see Tullamore like God, man, that's what, if we had,
Detroit, you gotta.
You know what? Let's make the mini. Let's make the
Macrew, that he says.
Let's make the mini comic 20 pages, and we'll just make everything.
We'll make it a double-sized issue. It'll be 27. Yeah, 27 pages. And
yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't do math.
On average, what was it, like 12 to 14 pages on a story? I could have sworn 14. Some of them were even longer than that.
It was 14, unless it was the Cosmic Kid, and it was 6 shitty pages.
I will say this: I don't envy. I mean, the guy I met the guy recently who so I'm always so bad with remembering names. He's the new writer on the mini comics for the origin stuff. I don't envy him for having to write stories that are only 6 pages long. It's not enough time to be able to come up with a long, like, fleshed out story. It's pretty tough.
It's not. I mean, that really is meant for like a one-on-one battle story. You can't do an Origins mini comic and say we're going to package this with 4 of our upcoming characters here and just hopefully cram them in there. Like it needs to be a one-on-one battle. You can tell a battle story in 6 pages. Will it be as epic? No, but I think it can be done as long as it's very finite and it's more about seeing these two guys duke it out as opposed to we're trying to tell a compelling story in 6 pages. Like it can't be done.
Yeah. But he was a nice guy. He was very enthusiastic about Masters of the Universe and everything like
Was
that.
he now
So
really? Or are you just being nice?
no, I'm being serious. He was. He was a cool dude. So.
Has he been working on the entire time?
I don't know that. I think he's just.
Where was this at? Where'd you meet him at?
I met him at Toylanta, actually.
Okay. Did you tell me you know who we were?
No.
No. Did you tell me you're going to be on the podcast with us? That we're
No.
revolutionizing mini comics.
No.
Okay.
I didn't even realize that's what he did until I was talking to him more.
So when he said that initially to you, did you inadvertently make a face like, ooh?
Oh, I'm sure I did. I'm sure I did, because I cannot keep my feelings.
I can't either most of the time.
I'm sure when he said, "Yeah, I work on the new mini comics," I'm sure I went, "Ooh." Like I'm sure I did that. Because yeah, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, again, what can you do in 6 pages? You really can't do anything.
Yeah.
So
I
would love. I'll say this: I would love to see. I'm not necessarily a fan of the new mini comics in terms of story or art, for that matter. Yeah. But I'd be curious to see, given the opportunity, if they had the 12 pages, if they had the 14 pages,
what they could try.
What they could actually do.
Yeah.
So.
I don't trust Mattel's decision making with any of this. I don't. They can give 27 pages. It'd be 27 pages with horse shit. It's just like, oh my god, and it'd be more time going, ooh, and Nathan's like, ooh, boy, that's bad.
What's that meme when the guy goes, ooh?
I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all.
Well, we'll dive back into this. So is Malakatha gonna shoot down and attempt to use that to pin them down momentarily in an attempt?
Okay. So we have it. So they arrive at Skytree. They talk to Skytree, introduce themselves. Malakatha makes his climb up. He's got the tool on there so that once he's up there, he can secure himself. Maybe that's one of the things that he uses it for. Is just like as he's going, he's just kind of using it as extra support to make sure that he clamps into place. So he's up there. And then while he's up there, he's like fascinated and he's like studying and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he's got a device from Man-at-Arms to take readings of whatever, who knows, but he's up there. While he's up there, Man-at-Arms, patiently waiting down at the bottom or whatever, to, because I don't see why he would necessarily go up there, or maybe he would, or maybe he'd stay at the bottom.
But I kind of feel like we need to set him up for taking on, like, just strictly as a plot device to engage in battle with Webstor and Clawful at first, like to immediately kind of set up like, oh, that's who's been causing all the shit, and confronts them.
Okay, what about this? What if they both ascended up to the top? Tullamore is the one that tells them, it's like, oh, hey, snap! I think the guys that are actually causing all the trouble just arrived. They're down here, and it's Man-at-Arms uses the tower tool to swing down and catch one of them with the claw, and he's fighting both of them at the same time. Or do you like it better where Man-at-Arms is fighting them both, and then Malakatha comes down to help?
I almost feel like if we're all right, because then will we have use for the cliff climber then? If we're gonna,
I would say Man-at-Arms is up there. They're both made aware, hey, this is what's causing trouble. Man-at-Arms uses Cliff Climber to descend down to the bottom to take them on, while Malakatha is still up there in Tower Tools. And then once they're fighting, Malakatha is realizing that Man-at-Arms is not.
Oh, how about this then? Yeah. How about as Man-at-Arms realize, okay, I got to get back down there. I don't know who it is, but I got to get back down there. Webstor's already ascending secretly and snaps the line of the Cliff Climber and has him fall down, and is met by Clawful at the bottom.
There you go.
So Webstor's already up there trying to ascend to get to where Malakatha's at, and Man-at-Arms is fucked because he's down there not just from the fall, but now he's confronted by Clawful.
That works. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And then maybe that's when Malakatha uses the tower tools to grab Web Store at the top, and then swing down later. Or maybe maybe that's it. He just clamps them and holds them in place at the top. And now see, then like what the Man at Arms is just dealing with Clawful at the bottom. Like, is that when He-Man shows up?
I think it would have to be.
I almost feel like we have to build up. We need to make it look like that Malak and Man at Arms are going to be subdued. Like either he captures Webster temporarily, but Webster is the master of escape.
Right.
So we think he's got him, but somehow he managed to either sneak out of it, break through, or whatever. It finds a way to break out of it and takes Malakta out of action. Like we at least get to see Malakta's use as in terms of his intelligence. He's trying to engage in battle, but given this is all he's got to work with, Webster's the master of escape. I'm sorry, but Malakta is not going to subdue Webster for very long. It would diminish the threat of Webster if that were to be
true
continuous to the story.
Yeah.
True.
So we find a way to take him out, and then Man at Arms is holding his own, but Webster descends back down to help out and help take out Man at Arms, and then we got to build up for a big He-Man moment, and that's when I feel like.
How about Webster finds a way to just sort of just trap Malakta in it to where he can't get out? That way it uses that as a device where He-Man's going to have to use his strength later on to kind of rip it to get him out of it.
He's got the grappling hook. He's got the line and the cable. Maybe it's just a matter that he Webster binds them up and ties them.
True.
So they can't do anything.
Or uses his own. Like I imagine he's got more than a few cables in his backpack.
Right.
I could see him, tying him up or with locked inside the tower tools, like he can't go anywhere. The tower tools either dismantled or subdued, where like Malakta can't operate the machinery. Like even he may be like still like securing it, but he can't move his arms to move up and down to get down or anything like that. He's completely like cocooned almost with grappling cable, and then Webster descends back down, and maybe
Well, would he though? Because if the whole point is to get this acorn, and he's already up there,
that's when we need to have our He-Man moment. Because I feel like if he were to break that from the tree, we need to emphasize that it's important that it never is removed from the tree.
Right. So I don't see Webster being like, "Oh, I subdued him. Now I'm going to go back down, only to go back up again."
Yeah, no, you're right about that. We need to he is taking Malakta out of action and ready to claim the goods.
He's got the moment where he's
it's just what I've been looking for from.
And then He-Man.
Then He-Man, I think, would drop in with either like the jet sled, or maybe a sky sled or something like that. Like leap off of it, like he's riding a sky sled and just leaps off and just tackles Webster in midair before he can even get his hands on the acorn, and then you got them clashing. And if we want to bring Mossman back into it, we could have Mossman come ground level and just take his mace and just the shit out of Clawful, from behind as he get ready to take down Man at Arms.
Yeah, and then maybe since Skytree is so big, maybe Webster and He-Man are fighting on the way down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Mossman makes like some kind of like mossy, cushiony like flower
to catch the fall.
Yeah, to catch
him in the fall.
Yeah.
And then so he stops that.
Nathan, yeah.
And
goddamn pal, I love it.
And then Tullamore at the end is like,
he's dancing a jig there, and everything.
And it would be like Tyler. It would be like me doing the at the Abercrombie and Fitch dance.
Oh yeah, just gliding on air like Michael Jackson. It's like doing the moonwalk 4. That's what Nathan does.
Yeah.
That's what
and then of course the last shot is Man at Arms, Malakta, Mossman, He-Man, and Webster and Clawful bound together.
Yeah.
On the ground or whatever it is, and then having some kind of like anecdote at the end, some kind of comment where they're all like
all standing together. And I would love to set it up, because if we're going to introduce Evil Seed, I feel like we need to at least have them wondering, okay, what does Skeletor want with the acorn? And they're like, Skeletor didn't hire us to
He
do
didn't.
this.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, who the hell hired you? We're not at liberty. And it just left it open.
You're not at liberty to say.
Not at liberty to say, Or be like Luis Gomez.
Awful's only line in the whole thing. I'm not at liberty to say.
I'm not at liberty to say, yeah. And it's like, well, why not? Because you didn't use the magic word. What is the magic word, Clough? Please.
Yeah.
Will you please tell us who hired you?
Why do you want to know?
It's like, I want to know more about what you're doing here. Frankly, there's been a lot of crazy shit going on this planet. We'll turn He-Man into
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we're turning He-Man into Walter Peck. He-Man is the Walter Peck in the scenario, and Clawful is Peter Venkman. By God, I love it. Yeah, and just leaving it as an open-ended sequel to reintroduce Evil Seed into the mythology.
Yeah,
like we could have because I'm not gonna because Tom had a brilliant idea too. He told me about setting up a return of Evil Seed, and it just like where he had this idea. I'm not gonna.
Separate conversation had nothing to do with this.
Well, I know it did, but I'm just saying, like, it makes me think of like having this ambiguous beginning of like the return of Evil Seed starts with this one story, and then like Tom had these ideas of Evil Seed's big epic comeback that are planted, no pun intended, through a variety of stories, and maybe this could be like the beginning or like a prologue to his epic return. Because Tom had a really good idea of how to bring Evil Seed quietly and gradually back. And this would be like the first introduction to the readers that he's back. And when can we expect him to make a full presence on Eternia? And knowing he's responsible for the droughts or the plant life not growing, properly or something like that,
So in that event, would we name this mini comic The Return of Evil Seed, or would we go with another title? Okay.
We
I would say called the Golden Acorn or something like that.
Yeah, something. Yeah, like just name it after the MacGuffin of the story.
Okay.
Or the I was gonna say like we have already had the Tree of Life from Secret Liquid of Life, but yeah, maybe just something as simple
the
as
Nut of Prosperity.
Yeah.
The golden nut.
Yeah.
Something that really emphasizes like prosperity with this item. Like it's an item of that I don't know, the fruits of life or something like that, even though it's not a fruit. It's not something that would emphasize this. It has great significance, to whoever either has it or can recreate it.
Yeah, or maybe it's a reference. The title's a reference to Skytree.
Yeah. Like I mean, we could call it like the Return of Skytree or something like that. I mean, it didn't. Have, I mean, it's kind of that idea's been played, but something that plays at the significance of Skytree because he is such an important character. That's only in one episode, but by God, everybody knows who he is.
Mm-hmm.
It never was used again.
Trying to think,
and maybe like at the end of it, like the conversation is that they learned what they needed in order to resolve the drought problem.
And we can leave the forest in peace, and we don't need it.
Yeah, we'll take these two guys with us, get them out of here, and then maybe that last shot is just some kind of like foreboding silhouette version of Evil Seed in the temple, and it's like like you were saying, it's like they say, well, what was Skeletor's plan? Why did Skeletor want the acorn? And they're like, it wasn't Skeletor.
Yeah,
that's line that's over that panel where it's just a shadow of Evil Seed.
Whether he's either looking in a crystal ball of his own or he's observing from a distance, and it just cuts. Like the dialogue is Clawful speaking, but it cuts to like outside the Forbidden Forest, and it's just a cloaked figure. It's like it wasn't Skeletor, because I could see it would be smart of Evil Seed to not tell them who he is, They
Yeah.
just know he's this maniacal plant being. He doesn't say I'm Evil Seed, the master of the plant kingdom.
Yeah, because neither, if I recall, I don't think Clawful or Webster were involved in his episode. So they wouldn't know who he is.
They wouldn't know who he was. They would just be approached by him somewhere somewhere he gets in contact with them, gets a message to them, wants to buy their services. And when they're like, yeah, you know what, we're not doing this shit, and doesn't give him a choice, but he never tells them who he is.
Mhm.
And they could say, I mean, I'd even say, like, you know what, the fact that he threatened them, like they're not going to go and say it was this crazy plant guy. Or they could say that,
Yeah,
and allude to like Mossman's like, what do you mean plant guy? Like,
like he's the one that gets alerted. He's like plant guy.
yeah.
And then when you had that,
that's how it would end almost.
Yeah.
It was like we wouldn't even have to see Evil Seed. We could just see like He-Man and Mossman. Like, you mean him? Like, no, or something along the lines that only they would recognize. Well, Madrox would too, because he was in the Evil Seed episode too.
Yeah.
So I could see them all looking at each other like, oh my god, I hope he doesn't. I hope they don't mean what I think they mean.
Mossman would know who he is because it's his adversary. He-Man and Man-at-Arms would know because they've dealt with him before.
Yeah. So I'd love to see them all look at each other as if like they only have one idea, but like, dude, he's dead.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It can't be, can it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Done.
God,
print it.
We just like engaged the most random story and created a return of Evil Seed and making of it, man. And we did it for free, Mattel. How about them apples?
Hey, I don't know. Hey, Tom knows a guy. I don't know if you know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I talked to a guy. If we can condense this to 6 pages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe Mattel would hire us if we can make this a 6-page episode.
No, I think they're at the point in the line now where they're like,
if we cut out the Tower Tools and Melectha and Man-at-Arms and Evil Seed, I think we got it.
And if you add some of the Thundercats and Ninja Turtles in there, then you're
we got to find a way to cross promote in a story that makes no damn sense at all whatsoever.
Well, I'm sure the next one, now that they've got the DC license back, it's going to be DC and Masters of the Universe merged together into Origins figures. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Super He-Man.
Now Tyler's going to get flashbacks from years ago with crossover comics.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Those were bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that was pretty amazing that you guys just kind of came.
Well, you did too.
Nathan, you were just.
I look at myself as more of just the facilitator of just like tossing in some things. You guys are the brains behind this operation.
Don't sell yourself short, man. You came up with some really good suggestions.
You helped weave this together as much as we did, man.
So we got to do more of these.
Oh my god!
More wheels. We need 5 wheels next time.
Yeah. Which I'm thinking
the hero wheel, the evil wheel.
Yeah, we need a hero wheel, an evil wheel. We need a vehicle wheel, a weapons wheel, a location wheel. Yeah. And then
wait, is the weapons wheel? Is the weapons wheel not just weapons? Is it artifacts and all that kinds of weird stuff?
We can throw in artifacts and shit. Man-at-Arms makes up just out of convenience. I'm looking for something new. My new stasis ray. How about that? Just like. Things that he's come up with. And
do you want to make it like even more challenging? Do you want to have because I mentioned this to you also before. Do you want to have it so there's also a Princess of Power wheel, where somehow we have to make a story that can involve both the Masters of the Universe and a Princess of Power character?
That, and I'm a challenge.
Taking things too far, Tom. It's too much.
But I'm like, then we have to work in a gateway or no, because there are episodes in Princess of Power where Adam is already visiting Andorra. Like there's no so we could say Natasha is visiting Eternia because she's learning about Man-at-Arms' new net grappling gear or something like that, and she's like, you know what, this would make a great idea. I could take this back to the rebellion or something like that. So if we
they've had episodes where Orko ended up on Eternia, Etheria. So it's like,
Yeah.
you could make up whatever reason. And
we're making up
have
the
it
rules anyway as we go along. So it's totally
so
fine.
what?
You don't even-
I'm game
you don't even
to
have
We
to
cheated and
explain
brought the cliff climber into the story, so
Well,
we can do whatever we
but-
want.
But I guess the importance is like we use the parts that the wheels gave us. If we wanted to add other stuff to it, we can do it, but we
Yeah.
have to find a way to work in what the wheels gave us. So you know what? We include Mossman. We include
Evil Seed.
Web store. What's that?
We also
Evil
threw
Seed.
in
No,
Evil Seed.
Evil Seed playing an integral part to that. So yeah, as long as we use the parts and create our own story, then yeah, I think we can add a Princess of Power Wheel. We could go as far as including the people like Seahawk, Natasha, one of the Star Sisters,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Casaspella.
Yeah, because I think that even throws in a whole entire new realm of like, all right, how are you going to make this so that, if you've got a role where it's Perfuma and Roboto, like, okay, what possible storyline could put the two of them together?
All right.
I guess that depends on what the villains, what villains we get, and what locations we have to work with. Like if we were to get like Roboto and Perfuma have to team up in a battle in Dark Smoke against Squeeze and Mosquito.
Right.
I mean,
it'd be completely weird and random, but like that's I think part of the fun and the challenge
that's what makes this
where you can creatively take things.
Yeah.
And then if we go that far, we got to include New Adventures characters.
Oh no!
But I think every time we add another element, we're making
Here's another wheel.
Yeah, we're getting another wheel. But I think also it's like the more that we keep making it, it's just like, okay, now we gotta make sure we use this. We gotta use this. We gotta use this. We gotta use this. It's really going to become even more challenging because now.
I mean, honestly, yeah, you're absolutely right. Because if we just went with here's just one character, that's one thing. But we added so many other elements. It's like this has to be in here somehow. So the more wheels, the better, I guess.
Yeah, it makes it that much more challenging because now it's like it wasn't one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, well, we couldn't figure out how to use tower tools, so it's out. No, we figured a way to do it.
We made it work. Now, and if we had scuba attack in this scenario, that would have been quite the challenge. I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? No, we could have found like there was.
They could have used scuba attack, but because they got to cross a moat to get to the forest. Oh, we got to use something scuba
attack. Who we kidding? We can make anything work.
It'll be fine.
And that's where the beast could have come in.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
See, this stuff writes itself.
I mean, Tyler, Tom did have Fearless Photog on that list. I don't know if you noticed that.
Man, that'd have been awesome.
Was he on there? Did you have him on there? Is he on the wheel?
Yeah, he's on the wheel.
Yeah.
I didn't know how Tyler was going to feel about that, honestly, because I couldn't recall his opinions on Fearless Photog.
No, Fearless Photog, I always thought was cool. It's all the shitty characters that were made up, like Castle Grayskull, man, and all that other stupid shit.
Well, he'll be on the wheel next.
Now, if we were to put characters that should have won that creative character contest, like Rajar, Bublor, Three Beast, and Major Header, like those villains that were illustrated and they looked amazing, but Scott Knowles like, nah, I like this dumbass idea better. I'd have been all for that.
Yeah.
But,
do you want to throw on characters like Snowman?
Like the Snow Goat character from
oh
hell yeah, I'd love to see him as absolutely, dude. Yeah.
All right.
This could get so crazy.
It's gonna turn. This could evolve.
There's a wheel force. We have to use a concept character that was never used.
All right.
Like that's something too. Like because
that's its own wheel. Its own wheels.
It has to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's a horde character or a Neva warrior or just a concept character that like that really bad version of Too Bad, where it's like a Prince Valiant with like this like one-eyed pirate dude. Like it's a concept of Too Bad that never came to fruition, thank God. But like if we were to have that on the concept character wheel, we wouldn't have to incorporate that every time, but we can make that like, all right, this week we're going to do the concept character wheel along with all the others. And
what if we had it so it's the extra challenge? The extra challenge. If you can make it in there, great. If you can't, it's okay.
All right.
I almost feel like if we what did we? I felt
The,
like
the
what
really
we-
the really difficult stuff should go on the extra credit wheel if you can manage to get it in
But
there.
I want some. I want something that says, by God, you know what, we got the bragging rights to do that. So you know what, I don't need a trophy or anything like that.
We'll get one made for you, man.
Yeah,
You know what I wanted to do? Yeah, when I wanted to get the I think it's a shampoo bottle of
Yeah.
He-Man.
Painted
It
gold.
looks like, yeah, painted in gold. It looks like an Academy
Tom.
Award.
That's what the award could be that we could give to Tyler, just a gold painted
a
He-Man
gold shampoo
shampoo
bottle of
bottle.
He-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted with you guys and like the whole crew. At one point, I was talking. It's like we should do a Masters of the Universe Jeopardy.
Yeah,
And
I
originally,
remember we were talking about that.
yeah, and I was
Trying to
originally
set that up.
thinking, that gold He-Man shampoo bottle would be the award for whoever won the Jeopardy.
That was a brilliant idea, man. I love that.
That would be awesome.
And
So-
the person who got the least amount of points to get like a shampoo bottle of Skeletor, like, yeah, you're the biggest loser or something like that.
You get the slime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get the slime pit version of Skeletor or something like that. But I couldn't be more proud of what we did tonight, man. Like this
Oh, yeah.
is just and I hope our listeners found this to be a big treat, because I'm just like overjoyed with the story we came up with, and with Nathan just putting this together for all of us to just, okay, this is what we got to work with here. Here it is. Lay it out, build it up.
I think also between the three of us, we did a really good job also of remembering the characters, their personalities, what they would and wouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
So,
Which I
Barry
think is really
Horowitz is
important.
all around.
yeah.
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 I mean, big pats on us. Well,
I don't know.
because that's been one of the biggest problems with modern mythology of He-Man is people just don't seem to think about how these characters were established. That, yeah, you know what, maybe this character wasn't used that much in the cartoon, but the one or two times he was used, he was cunning, he was intelligent, formidable, and he wasn't a pushover. I feel like people are so quick to write the bad guys as just like, oh, I remember, because the meme said all Skeletor's warriors were bumbling oafs and they just slipped in banana peels and He-Man just
Yeah.
pushed them over with a finger, and like, no, like they're that they're memorable for a reason, because just look at them, they're all nothing but badasses, and they should be treated nothing
Yeah.
less.
I think also for me in particular, I was really glad we landed on a character like Malaktha.
I was too.
I was like, oh my God, boy, this is gonna be a challenge, and really, it really wasn't. Not as much I thought it would be, and I
actually think he's a really great character. I know
I
that
do
there's
too.
there's some people that have the opinion that he's not interesting because he doesn't, he's not
Well,
a warrior like Man at Arms or He-Man.
the
He's
thing
got his own strengths.
Absolutely.
The thing that works best with him is because he's wanting to learn more all the time and obtain more. Any location that we could have picked with him would work, because he would need to go there to study something or retrieve something or whatever. So yeah, he's a good all around character. So I'm really happy
He would
that we
fit
landed
any
on him.
story. I swear we could even, not that it would, I mean, we really could go on. We could, if we wanted to, we could put him in any story we wanted, even if it's just the beginning of the story where he's just setting you up with like information, and then that's his own all he's got.
Yeah.
Just like letting you know this territory is like controlled by the Shadow Beast. Like I mean, this is like just like the Crystal Sea. Like this is a infested area of Shadow Beasts. I'm telling you, like, or just something along those lines where he's just like he's getting the heroic horse prepared, for what's to come or something like that. And it's a shame that the character was only used. I mean, he was used a handful of times and not used well, but why he and we got to thank Larry DeTiller for creating such a wonderful character anyway.
Yeah.
And I guess
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I'm just saying it's just, I guess it's left up to us fans to continue to like emphasize why this is an important character in the mythology and why there's so much potential with him.
Well, not just him, but like as you were saying earlier, of taking these other characters and their abilities and using them to the fullest and not treating them like goofs. They're just going to trip and fall, and they're no formidable foe. So yeah.
And that goes with the heroes as well. Like they, I just feel like that's what's bothered me so much about He-Man with a lot of fans is they forget I'd say from 84 and on, it's always about the first two waves of characters. Any casual person just knows Trapjaw, Beastman, maybe Evil Lyn, and Skeletor, He-Man, Tila Manos, and Orko. Oh, he's a big goof. I've often thought, you know, and this was something I was thinking about too, is Orko never got his own mini comic. Like,
No.
why not have a comic that emphasizes just how powerful that character and not treat him? He grew up with Adam. He's not younger than Adam. If anything, he's older than Adam and just grew up alongside him. Like, he has to be an intelligent character from what he knew in Trollope. Why not establish him as like, look, when it comes down to it, this guy can go up against Evil Lyn if he wants to and hold his own. Like, he had the knowledge in Trollope. Yeah, maybe he has issues on Eternia, but he is not dumb. And
No.
I've often felt like they've written him so inconsistently in Filmation, where he's childlike and then he's adult-like. You know?
Yeah. Well, arguably so am I. But so
I mean, aren't we all? I guess in the grand scheme of things.
But we wouldn't have it any other way with Tom, though. But I feel like to never treat the character as someone who is formidable and you know, because obviously you think of Evil Seed, the episode Evil Seed, when the source is like, Orca, no, you too. You recognize this guy is a powerful source of magic on this planet. To be
I think
hanging
one of my
with
favorite
the top 4 forces on the planet, that says something.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite episodes with Orko from Filmation was the time when he got kidnapped, I think, by Beastman and Trapjaw. And
Oh yeah, I know the episode you're talking about. It was in season 2.
yeah, but like it wasn't necessarily itself a good episode, but it was just
No,
the
it
idea that like Orko is managing to hold his own just fine with the two of them, and you know he's basically being very impish and using his magic to torment the two of them for like kidnapping him, basically.
Yeah.
It's silly in that regard because it basically makes Beastman and Trapjaw pretty incompetent and stupid and everything like that, which they tended to do more and more as the series went on.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like the idea. It's like, yeah, he's a very playful at heart character. He does have childlike tendencies, but you know, when needed to be, he could rise to the occasion and be very, serious, very competent as far as a hero in his own right. So he has that ability.
I think of that moment in Pawns of the Game Master when he gets loose and sees the Game Master hurt Tila, and he gets pissed off and like just throws his. I mean, he drops it's a curtain on the Game Master and Bearman, but it's like this moment of like, I don't care who you are. You fucked around with Tila, like fuck you, and he turns around and goes after Kragox and blinds him immediately and gives Adam the upper hand to get up and turn into He-Man. Just those moments where he ain't afraid of like, whatever threat is going on right now, or just like in Donna Dragoon, like he just comes off as a much more intelligent character than the series would give him, and I feel like they wrote him that way purposely, but I just feel like there's a lot more depth to that character that we really could emphasize that he can be lovable, but when it comes down to it, man, if he had to stop Skeletor from like if he like He-Man's on the ropes and Skeletor's got it, is getting the upper hand, I can see Orca coming in and just stopping Skeletor enough, not beat him, because I'm not when I have an Orca beat Skeletor, that's He-Man's job, but just make him solidify his presence amongst the heroic warriors is not just a court gesture, but this guy deserves to hang with him.
He aids in the fight. Yeah, I agree with you. He's one of those characters that I think was not in terms of ability or personality. Well, maybe not necessarily personality, but definitely like an inconsistency in terms of like how he's represented. Is he a joke? Is he a jokester, and then all he is? Is he comedy relief, and that's all he is? Is he the person that screws something up so that starts the plot? And or is he capable of handling himself like any of the other heroes that are there? Like it would fluctuate and change depending on what they needed in the story, basically.
Yeah.
Because there's like I'm vaguely remembering an episode, the one where he does go to Etheria, and they've got him hooked up to some kind of device.
That's Talent for Trouble.
Okay.
That's my favorite Sheer episode. Yeah.
Do they put something on his head to like examine his brain?
They want to research him, and the machine pretty much can't comprehend because he's completely it's almost like Orko's mind is stronger than Horde's science because like they're reading what's in his mind, and Orko's just doing this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm sorry, you're not gonna be able to figure me out, and it just makes the machine just can't compute what he is because
Right.
obviously it's just done to drive Hordak crazy. But they recognize that this is an intense personality here that we can't figure out. Maybe Horde Prime can figure it out, but it definitely solidifies that he's not just a throwaway character that just gets captured. Like
Mhm.
there's more to this character.
Yeah.
You know.
Did his magic also like work backwards on Etheria as it did on Eternia?
Yes, I think they just did that for convenience. I feel
Yeah.
like they set it up with that episode on Dragoon that his magic works consistently in Trala, whereas on Eternia it doesn't, but it works when it's convenient for the story.
Right.
When I feel like they need Orko to come through in the clutch, like in Colossal Awakes, like he flashes light, intense light in Colossal's face, and it catches them off guard. He's like, oh my god, it worked. Whereas other times it just screws up in a giant fish, falls in his hands, and
Bunch of eggs fall on Man at Arm's head.
or something, or a giant, a giant cake or something like that, falls on Man at Arms, or water or whatever. But
turns King Randor's suit into a giant Orko hat. You know how it goes.
Yeah. It's just something that's I know why they did it. I just feel like there's like everybody else in this mythology, there's so much more to these characters that because we really care about them, we could do so much more with them than what most people have ever dreamed of doing.
In one of the DVD sets, I remember there was one of the writers. I'm trying to remember who it was, if it was Paul Dini or somebody else, but they said that they had an idea for an episode of Filmation where it was, what do all the evil warriors do when Skeletor is busy trying to come up with his new plan? It's like he doesn't have anything for them to do just yet. So it's just like a day in the life of all the villains and what they do in the meantime while they're waiting for Skeletor to hatch a plan.
I would love to do that as long as I wasn't making them look buffoonish.
Yeah.
Like even if it was just them hanging out and having casual conversation. Like if it's like Beastman and Triclops hanging out while Merman and Trapjaw, are doing something, and Evelyn is, thinking about how she's pissed off at Skeletor for being verbally abusive to her or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I would think that if that was the case, where like Skeletor is like too busy figuring out what he wants to do next, that one of them would use it as an opportunity to do something they wanted to do.
That would make a great idea because then why wait on him? How about the five of us, and we could pick 5 evil warriors to say, you know what, either the original Fab Five, like Evelyn, Triclops, Trapjaw, Merman, and Beastman, to say, you know what, let's just go off on our own. It's a great idea. He's too much into himself to actually get this thing going. We got the resources. Come, let's take the Basher and the Collector and get the hell out of here and go put this plan into effect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to part 2. Whose mini comic is it anyway? We will spin the wheel. All right. That's funny how you guys are already like ideas are already starting to pour in.
But it was funny, like when you say that, it was funny like when Malakatha showed up, instantly in my head, I pictured it like in that scene from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where he's leading the way through a temple. And telling He-Man and them what to do to make it through safely.
Yeah. Or almost like he's like Sean Connery's part, like he's like taking out of action, but he's saying out loud what He-Man needs to be doing. Like He-Man, Jehovah begins with an I.
You're right, exactly. Exactly.
And He-Man, oh shit, I forgot. Latin starts with an I. Damn it.
Yeah, because that's what He-Man would say.
That's what He-Man would say. You say, damn it.
It's for the kids.
Yeah. And that's what Nathan would just chime in. It's for the kids, just constantly remind everybody every time there's a swear word.
Kids are dumb, right?
Yeah.
Did either of you happen by chance to watch Sister Sensei?
I have not, and I'm looking forward to it. I was going to watch it tonight, actually.
Oh my god!
I was going to watch it tomorrow. I was going to watch it yesterday in the event that you asked me about it today, but I wasn't able to get to it.
I've only because yesterday was a long day. I got home, I put it on. I got about 35 minutes into it, and I stopped it because I want to be like full and alert for it. But Tom, you're gonna love it. I'm just saying that now. Tyler, the verdict would still be out on you because you're still new to the game, even though this man has consumed so many Michelle Bauer films at this point.
Yeah. And quite proud of that. Yeah.
But we've created a monster, Nathan. We've created a monster.
Honestly, kind of more so than me. You're the one that's been like, "Hey, you can buy this DVD on this website." I mean, I've done that too, but you're kind of been facilitating this whole. Hey, Tyler.
Well, I had to reach out to Tom and say, "Hey, a great website." And he's like, "Well, I've never watched it. Ever try this?" Like, my God! And Nathan sent me another website. Hey, I found this one on this website. I don't know anything about it. I'll try that. And it showed up. It worked.
Oh, did you receive the order then?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
But I read reviews on Reddit, and everyone other than one person, and it was like a minute complaint. I'm like, okay, everyone else seems quite happy with this person's work. So I was not. Once I read all that, I'm like, you know what? I'll pull the trigger on this and see what happens. So hopefully they'll arrive sometime soon.
Well, cool. Since we have Tom here, we have to. Tyler.
I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break real quick, so I'll be right back.
Right.
Well, think about the Michelle Bauer films you want to talk about when you come back, because I want you and Tom to discuss that before we get out of here. But Tom, it's since Tyler's away, like the first little bit that I've watched, it's pretty much concentrating on both dojos. Like the dude's watching the fight, sees the main villain kill a guy, and he's like, I need to fight him. So then it's just going back between these two dojos, and our hero, I can't remember his name, he's just like talking about all of the practices and all the things you need to work on and all this. And there's a couple kids that get hurt during the training, and they're like, sensei, I hurt my leg. And he's like, oh, it'll be fine. And then he kind of does like the Miyagi thing. And he's like, oh, you're good, arigato. And I'm like, oh boy. You're gonna love it, I promise. So I'll probably at some point I'm gonna finish watching it over the weekend or next week. But yeah, it
sounds amazing.
How did you come across that? Because the movie is available on YouTube for all of you at home. Just look up Sister Sensei. It's probably one of the first results, and it doesn't have a lot of views. So this is kind of like a newly unearthed rip of a VHS tape that's made it on the internet.
Yeah. It was just one of those. My algorithm on social media stuff is so messed up.
I bet, Tom.
So random stuff like that shows up every now and then. And the clip that I sent you was the one that I discovered it with as well. Like just randomly showed up in my Instagram or whatever it was. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this looks like pure gold. I need to share this immediately. And that's why I sent it to you, because I'm like, if anybody's going to be able to appreciate this, it's going to be you.
Once I watched it, I sent it to Tyler, and he's like, oh man, this has got to be good. And I'm like, yeah.
Right, exactly.
And then I sent him the link to the full movie on there. So
when we were at Toylanta, we were watching bad movies and stuff like that. I'll wait till Tyler gets his earplugs in so I can hear this. And he's back.
I'm back.
All right,
and
so
I'm feeling good here, so we can go a little longer here, guys.
All right.
You guys know what I mean.
Yeah, so we were at Toylanta and we were watching bad movies and everything like that. So the first movie we watched was The Invisible Maniac. And I had seen it before, but nobody else had seen it. And it was filmed and released in 1990, but it totally feels like an 80s like movie, and it's really stupid and shameless when it comes to nudity, and like it's so over the top and bad.
Oh man, I was like, I'll look up the cover art. I don't think I can really show that on YouTube.
No, you can't. Yeah. But
I'll send it to Tyler so he has
it got Ren's vote. It got Ren's approval. So
titties, we'll do that.
Right. So he was happy, and we were laughing. And there's this band that did the theme song for it, And I've had that song stuck in my head since Toylanta. I can't get it out of my brain.
Well, one way, Tom, that I've discovered that you could get that out of your brain is if you just sing the "Where's Rodney" theme song instead.
Was it you that sent me the whole documentary?
Yeah. Because it popped up much like you. My recommended feed on YouTube is just kind of like, here's bad stuff, right?
Yeah.
And someone covered it. I'm like, Tom's got to see this. Because Rodney Dangerfield didn't want to do shit with it. He's like, he wanted to make it something else. I think they're like, no, we're gonna go with this. He's like, all right, well, I'll just show up and do a couple lines, and I'm done.
Yeah, that pilot's got to exist somewhere. It's got to be somewhere.
I'm kind of surprised that hasn't been, since the clips of it. People use clips of it. It's got to be somewhere. Maybe Internet Archive.
If the entire movie of Sister Sensei is on YouTube, you would think that this one pilot episode of a Rodney Dangerfield show would be somewhere. It's got to be.
Yeah, I would check DVD later because there's stuff on that. Like, oh my God, they've got that. Like, as I've dug into Michelle Bauer's filmography, like, and I found some of the most obscure. Oh my God, they've got that.
Well, let's talk about that, Tyler. Go ahead and list off Michelle Bauer films that you've watched, and we will see if Tom has viewed them as well.
Okay, Lady Avenger.
Yes.
Okay, Demon Warp.
Yeah, I actually just watched that the other day. That was great. For Freedom. Have you seen these?
I have not. So I mean, I'm so proud of Tyler that he's just gone upon himself to just discover all
I need to do a road trip down to you guys, and we should just do a bad movie night or something like that, because like now that we've brought Tyler into the family, we need
one of us. Google Gobble.
I can at least bring one Michelle Bauer contribution to the mix there.
You can.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So, keep going, Tyler. What else?
All right. Lust for Freedom.
I have not seen that.
Yeah. Oh, I watched that last week, and that was pretty epic. Especially the opening cop shootout. Like, oh my God. I busted out laughing in the first 2 minutes of that. That was pretty memorable. In Search of the Perfect 10.
No, I haven't seen that, but I've been told about it. I know what it is.
Yeah. Let's see. Now there's a few that I've yet to see that I purchased. Like,
you've seen Hell Roller, right?
Oh, I own Hell Roller because of you.
Yeah. Because of me, you son of a bitch.
But after Tom was like, "Oh, you never be able to find it. Want to bet?" And I was just scouring looking for it, and I found some used bootleg copy on eBay and bought it for like $25 or something like that. And it was
worth every penny.
It was, and I even recorded a few segments and sent it to Nathan. Like this, they're talking about the use of homeless people, grind them up and use them for pet food. You know,
it would take me off guard. I would be out and about or whatever, and he sends me this clip. I'm like, what are you watching, man? He's like, oh, it's this. It's the Michelle Bauer's in it. She gets naked. It's really great. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
It's got like this completely unnecessary like exercise scene where she's like exercising for what seems like forever, and it goes on a really, really long time, and you could clearly see this, like, okay, we've got Michelle Bauer, we need to get our money's worth and make sure that we use her properly. So they did.
And then the Hell Roller just rolls into the room with his sidekick and just decides to kill her.
Yeah.
Hell Roller's the guy in the wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing. Yeah. That's on YouTube, isn't it?
I don't know if it's on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know it might be.
I thought I looked it up somehow.
It's possible. It's one of those things where when I saw it and just how incredibly low budget this movie is, it's one of those like shot on video, like super low budget things.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that they got her to do it and agreed to do this movie, like, in the first place. Like, did she know somebody on the film? And she's like, yeah, sure, why not?
It had to have been.
That's what I thought too, because it's a silly as shit film, but it clearly looks like someone had an RCA camcorder and they went to a hotel room and on the streets of LA and just found any open spot without a permit.
Tyler, they call that genre shot on shitio.
Well, that's what this was. That's exactly what this was.
Appropriate.
Man. It's very appropriate for that movie. And then I feel like there's some movies like where it almost feel like that's what they got her for. Like we got access to her for a day, so let's just make the most of it. And just it makes no sense to have her in it, like her part. But we got her, so let's just
Mhm.
put her
Naked.
in the movie. You
I'm
know?
sure it was all completely improvised too. They're probably like, what can we do with her?
Yeah.
Get naked. That's
Well,
about
I
it.
mean, besides the obvious, but like it's
Yeah.
just like maybe it's like, what can we have her do in this whole thing? Like,
You did, Tyler. You did watch Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, right?
Oh, I loved it. Own it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant movie.
That's probably up there as one of her best works, I would say.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's such a blast film. The Tomb, which was like her first like actual movie, not like a smut movie, but like a or she plays a vampire from an old. It's an hour long. Like it's a really short movie.
mm,
Tom was you see him right now. He's like, what was that called? I'm gonna look it up right now. I just bought the
I'm
Blu-ray.
I went to go see if I could find her movie listings like on like database or whatever.
There's a video on YouTube that someone put together, and it's got every obscure thing she's ever done. Like you won't. It's a better list than what IMDb has or
Oh, really?
Wikipedia. It goes. It's that's what I went by, like to find some of the more obscure. Here's another one, and she's only in it for photographs. It's called the Jigsaw Murders.
Okay, I haven't seen that, but I'm familiar with it. I've seen the yeah.
Tom,
Did you?
I'm gonna link you to that YouTube video. I think that's the one that he's talking about.
It's just a video, and it's just a scroll list of every movie,
Okay.
everything she's ever done, from small to uncredited to actual full on
Full
well,
on,
like where
huh?
she's like it's like she's actual character. She's not just
Oh.
a throwaway character that was just in one scene.
Right.
Like
Did
Can't
you
Fear,
see
she just plays like dorm girl number 2 or something like that.
Trying to think, there was another one that I had seen. Trying to remember. I'm looking through like a whole list of stuff now. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Oh, Nightmare Sisters.
Oh yeah,
I adore that movie.
Tyler was the one that was like, "Hey, I just watched that. I loved it. Go buy the Blu-ray of this," and I did and watched it and enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably my favorite of her movies so far. Like I just think it's a movie I can just put on any time and just sit and watch it from beginning to end because it's just such a fun, silly movie.
Yeah.
I just like it a lot. Plus the fact she can play a hot fat girl.
Demon Warp is the one scene where she's just talking and then all of a sudden just casually goes,
Yeah.
and then she just turned off for like no
And that's all it
reason.
is. She just like shrugs it.
She like sighs and then just whoop.
And when she gets bitch slapped by the Bigfoot after the Bigfoot tears that girl's head off and then just
Yeah.
hands her.
It's so
The
good.
hero, and I feel like that's something I would love to discuss with you guys, like in a B movie discussion. Is discuss Demon Warp with you two, because George Kennedy is the most useless hero I've ever seen in a movie in my life. That's right. It is.
That's me.
Nathan, yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Demon Warp. All right.
Yeah, that'd be fun just to sit and laugh and talk about that with you guys.
Is that's officially like on a disc out by someone, right?
I think what I bought though was like a bootleg that came with like The Church, which was a Mario Bava.
That's what I have too. I have the exact same thing.
Okay.
You can buy that, I think, off of like somebody's got it on eBay. I'm sure.
I'll
That's
find
why I bought mine.
I'll find it. I'll find it digitally. It'll be all
Yeah,
right. I'll find a way.
There's definitely somebody who's got it that you can buy it somewhere. Officially or unofficially.
Might actually have it.
Well, we know. Well, Tom knows a guy. That's all we can say. Tom knows someone. If it's not Tom, he knows someone.
Yeah, Vinegar Syndrome just had their halfway to Black Friday
sale.
Yeah, so I went on there. There's a couple of things on there that I'll probably want to get. I haven't bought anything yet, but one of them that popped up was the Golden Child, the Eddie
I heard
Murphy
that they
movie.
were putting out a special version of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 4K version of the Golden Child, and I love that movie, so I'll probably get that. They also had Norm Macdonald's Dirty Work.
I love Dirty Work.
Really?
Yeah, which I'll probably get that too.
Yeah, Dirty Work's fantastic.
I know, I love it, but they have secret titles where you're not going to know what they are until I think some other point when they like bring back, because this is like a sneak peek sale.
Yeah.
Where you can get them at, like, if you order them now, you get them at a discount. If you wait until they officially go on sale, then you pay the normal price, and then they reveal the sort of what the secret ones are. But they've given hints to what the secret ones are, and I'm really, really hoping one of them is Jim Cotta. I really, really hope one of them is Jim Cotta.
I was gonna say, Tom, it's just not the same without you having that poster behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually talking with you guys from work. This is my work office.
Oh, well,
Okay.
being all fancy over there.
Yeah, because the time that you had said for Eastern time was actually earlier for me.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to be able to make it home. So I just stayed here.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, we're keeping Tom late at work.
Tom at work. You
don't want
get
to do
paid
that.
for this?
Huh?
You get paid for
It's
this?
only 8:00. It's not that big of a deal.
Tom is getting paid time and a half to be on the show right now.
He's burning midnight oil.
Crom's Mountain brought this up. Speaking of 4K releases, the stuff in Cobra are coming out in July. I pre-ordered Cobra already.
Yeah,
I did too. I got Cobra pre-ordered. I already had this stuff on Blu-ray. It's one of those movies. It's like, do I really need to upgrade the stuff from Blu-ray to 4K? Yeah, not really. But Cobra, of course.
Oh yeah,
all those special features that are on that too. It looks really great.
Yeah. I like both of those movies, but when I knew Cobra was coming out in 4K, I was like, easy.
It's a no-brainer. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know some of it's recycled from the Blu-ray release, but there's a bunch of other stuff on there too that makes it worth buying. Plus, just seeing it in 4K in general, seeing that opening grocery store scene in 4K. Yeah.
I want Action Jackson on 4K.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
I love that movie.
Yes. Yeah, that movie kicks ass. Nothing like Coach playing the villain, old Craig T. What a dick.
When I first watched that movie with my friend and they saw him as the villain, they go, him? Really?
That was my impression when I saw it too. I'm like, Coach is the bad guy? You know, there's like, how's this gonna work? I'm like, I'm sorry, he's gonna take on Carl Weathers. Like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, he was good enough. Like,
yeah. His stunt double was, at least.
Very, very true. Tom, how much do you spend on Vinegar Syndrome?
Way too much.
Yeah, so he's probably got VIP rights and everything.
I was gonna say, like, they
have like a tier system for, like, if you like buy a certain amount, then you get like increased perks. Like, you get like points and stuff like that you can then use to buy special items that they have available. Like, if you want a slip cover to go for a Blu-ray or whatever, or they have like their own merchandise. Like, if you want to get like Vinegar Syndrome, like coffee cups or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, you can also use those points to get like discounts or money taken off of, your orders or stuff like that. And I've surpassed that top tier like a long time ago.
That's surprising at all.
Yeah, they're just gonna be like, hey, if you're close, just come to the warehouse and hang out.
Yeah. So they are hiring, but no.
I can totally see Tom working for them.
It's just like Tom is like Vinegar Syndrome is his version of the Criterion Closet, where they do it with celebrities. He's just standing there in a room with all these Vinegar Syndrome releases, and he pulls out and he's like, yeah, and da-da-da.
Yeah.
Because the Vinegar Syndrome put out Demon
There's
Wind.
A lot of
not Demon Warp. Wind. Did Vinegar Syndrome put that one out?
Excuse me. Demon Warp came out and blah, blah, blah. And it's like schooling them. They actually, their whole process of like restoring old movies and finding all that hidden material, and they do a really good job of putting that stuff together.
They really do.
That's why I appreciate all those companies that are still sticking around and aren't those major labels that want to put the effort into these physical releases.
And also, I just love physical media. I don't really like doing digital stuff. I like having the actual like physical.
I'm half and half. right now. Like, I'll buy some stuff on digital, but excuse me, I almost coughed there. Cobra is, I'm like, yeah, I got to get that. Like, that's not something I want to own digitally or whatever. So,
there's a lot of really good boutique Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K people who are like trying to maintain a lot of like the physical media. So I really appreciate them. There's one that's going to be bringing Fright Night 2 to.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I can't wait for that one to come out.
Let me know when that drops, and I
will.
I'll buy that too.
Yeah, because I just picked up the special Blu-ray they have, Trick or Treat, not the one with the little guy.
With Gene Simmons.
Gene Simmons.
The 80s one where it's like
that one's in that too, isn't he?
Yeah, well, they advertise him and Gene Simmons, but it's like it's one of those throwaway things.
But that's how they sell it on like the DVD releases. Like, hey, they're in this.
You know what? I really want to see. There's the Kiss movie where they're like quasi like superheroes or something like that. It was made in the late 70s, early 80s, and I can't remember the name of it. But I wish somebody would find that footage and put that to Blu-ray because I've never fully seen the whole thing.
Was it a theatrical film that was released at the time? Or
I think it was a direct-to-TV movie or something like that.
Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park.
That's it. That is it.
I would Detroit Rock City. That's the only thing I really want to watch movie-wise that is pertaining to Kiss.
That's a masterpiece.
Yeah. Which apparently the Blu-ray of that is stupid expensive now. Because it's out of print.
Yeah, it's out of print. It's probably one of those things.
Kiss took on Dr. Doom in like a Kiss Marvel special back in the 70s. Which that's something I wouldn't mind checking out myself at some point. Just like, how does Kiss like take on Dr. Doom? Or what did Dr. Doom see? Like, this is a threat to me.
I've lightened up on Kiss over the years. Before I used to think they really fucking sucked, but I've lightened up on them quite a bit over time.
Gene Simmons has a thing where it's like whatever merchandise is made with Kiss, he gets one of it.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. That's part of like the contract deals. I know that because back when I worked with a company that made slot machines, like land-based slot machines, they did a Kiss slot machine. And he was like, I want to have one. I don't want to have that slot machine. It's like, if you want to do a Kiss slot machine, I need to have one. And I don't think that legally you can do that unless you take all of like the gambling guts out of it. Because you can't have a slot machine in your home. It's not legal.
Well, didn't they sell slot machines in Sears and JCPenney catalogs back in the 80s and 90s, like for kids? Like, I could have sworn they had like.
Maybe, but I don't think it was like the gambling one. I was thinking it's like one of those things. Maybe you put in a quarter so you could pull it, and then like it was more like a bank than it probably wasn't.
Because I remember wanting one of those when I was seeing in the Christmas catalogs back in the day.
Yeah, but I mean, to have to own and operate an actual slot machine, I think is illegal. You can't do that.
Okay.
And Gene Simmons is like, I don't care, I want one.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much, he was like, it doesn't matter. It's like, I want one. So I think if they, in order for him to be able to get one, it played like it normally would, but you just couldn't actually feed in money.
Yeah.
And get money out of it. Like those guts were all taken out.
I'm sure Gene had someone paid to go back secretly and probably replace those guts. And
well, here's the thing. It's like if you really, really wanted to, you can find somebody who's got those pieces somewhere, and you can build it yourself if you really wanted to.
I'm sure, Tom, you know a guy, don't you?
Yeah, Tom knows a guy.
I don't. Not that.
Well, at least not while we're live, he doesn't. When we go
when we're off air, we'll get all the details.
Not that I'll admit to on a live podcast. There's a movie with Gene Simmons called Never Too Young to Die.
Oh yeah, with John Stamos.
John Stamos.
Yeah.
where Gene Simmons is like a drag queen.
He looks really weird in it.
Wait, is it who's like is Vanity in that movie too with John Stamos?
I think so.
I think so.
I think it's
Somebody, Vanity.
Yeah, because I've seen from the Bad Movie Bible videos. He played a clip of that movie. Have you guys watched any of his stuff? I feel like it just.
I haven't. I know you've talked about it, but I haven't watched any of this.
Yeah, I figured Tom. Oh yeah, and all he does. There's a video on Indiana Jones ripoffs. There's a video on Die Hard knockoffs. There's a video on Jaws knockoff. And it's like an hour long, shitty ninja movies. You know, just nothing, and that's all it is. Like Alien knockoffs, RoboCop knockoffs, and that's all he covers are movies who are trying to copy poorly and hilariously. And he's mentioned movies that you guys have talked about too, but plenty of times as well. And like, I've often wondered if you guys were, or I know Nathan wasn't, but I didn't know if Tom was or not.
It sounds that sounds familiar. I don't think I've ever seen it, and if I have, I didn't realize I was watching that. But I'll check it out because that sounds like it's right up my alley, and it might show me something I haven't seen yet.
And he gave me so many recommendations too, and I sent some clips to Nathan because someone was like, "Oh my god, I had just this clip alone." I should have sent it to you too. And of course, I'm not going to say it out loud because some of the stuff's like, "Oh my god, this was in a movie at one point," But,
I ordered, but I haven't watched yet. I just received it a couple days ago. A Japanese horror movie that just looks like it's batshit insane in terms of like the effects and like practical makeup and everything like that.
Nathan's got this.
I'm intrigued what he's gonna say.
I'm going to. I gotta look up the name of it offhand because I don't remember. I saw a clip of it online. Again, my algorithm is just
it's not House from the Criterion Collection, right? No. Because that you're going that direction. I'm like, that's a weird fucking movie too.
That is a weird movie, but it's not that. Oh man, my Amazon app is like acting up.
Oh no, Tom.
I know.
Let's leave the viewers in the dark. We will go ahead and
this is great programming from the behalf of Tom.
We'll go ahead and wrap this up. I hope everyone enjoyed this first installment of us just kind of riffing and coming up with a mini comic on the spot and our bonus Michelle Bauer B-movie conversation. Tom, it was awesome having you here and back on the channel again. And
always a pleasure.
If you enjoyed this, like this episode, comment down below, give us your thoughts, subscribe if you haven't already, and until later, let the power return.
I could have had my nose bit off by a Saigon whore.
Oh, I know that.
Come on, Tom.
I know.
Come on. Let's see if he gets it first, and then we'll make him feel like an asshole about it.
Okay.
Now you're gonna have to make me feel like an asshole because it sounds so familiar.
It sounds so familiar because we talked about it already this evening.
Yeah, maybe like 15, 20 minutes ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm blanking. What's it?
Man.
What is it?
Since Nathan knows, I'm gonna let Nathan be the reveal.
Yeah, Nathan embarrassed me.
Dirty Work, man. You said you love that movie.
Oh, the thing is, it's like I literally haven't seen Dirty Work since I saw it in the theater.
Okay.
Oh, really?
We'll give you a pass this time, Tom. But just this.
I saw it in theaters too. I saw it like the Second Chance Cinema.
Man.
No, but that's why it sounded familiar, and I just couldn't place it. I'm like, I don't remember that in Demon Warp. Like,
I rented it on
VHS. Bauer said when she took her shirt off.
I rented it on VHS when it arrived.
That's what Sasquatch says to her.
Yeah. And then he backhands her.
He backhands her and flies her.
Oh man! All right. Can't. Tom, I'm slightly disappointed, but not too much.
Well, I'm disappointed in me too.
Hey, do me a favor, call the cops.
Cops? What do you want the
Call
cops
the
for?
cops!